can remember that they are changing my voice. So before I begin this video about natural appeal, natural romantic appeal, the racism of the inhabitants of the earth, and people confusing women about what is ideal as a key part of the organized rape by deception campaign and campaigns that plague the planet, let me highlight several things. One, I haven't had a date in 7 years because of extreme racism. And everyone knows it. It goes far beyond just MAGA or something. Extreme racism. Extreme greed. Extreme coercion. Extreme evil. They refuse to do the right thing as a planet. I also have 23 witnesses on record to the psychological campaign, the psyop against me, to them fuming and poisoning me and harassing me. And every last one of those witnesses is coerced by the state and terrorized by the state to prevent them from rallying to me and standing with me. I mean, that speaks volumes. That speaks volumes. So with that being said, let's start with ancient Egypt, shall we? Thousands of years ago in ancient Egypt, there was various types of people. There were people who were more mulatto-ish. There were people who were more dark black. There were people in the Mediterranean. And the Greeks and the Romans were somewhat familiar with Egyptian types. By the time it was 500 BC or so, they were pretty familiar with the people on the other side of the Mediterranean. They knew some black people weren't as attractive as others. And it was driving them crazy. Just like the religions and philosophies were a response to the Royal African Falcon Martial Art Order, so were their dating practices. And again, I'm just saying this to kick the ballistics here. It didn't take him very long to see that someone shaped like Socrates or Fred from Scooby-Doo or Shaggy, okay, with a tan or something, with a spear, wouldn't be as universally attractive as a handsome mulatto. Not a gayish mulatto like Egyptian pharaohs are often depicted as, not the way the mass majority of Egyptians are depicted as on their pyramid text and the art in Egypt, but somebody with a very masculine way about them, a very divine way. And so they were responding to that, and so were other people in the area, other black people, people here and there. And they're responding in a very negative and petty way. It was also out of greed, out of cheating people in general, out of attractive women, they designed the Greek cultures and the Roman cultures of the time, and they often were merged together into Greco-Roman cultures as time went on, and they spread across Europe and across the world. So, this is why they edited my pictures and changed the sound of my voice, because I'm far more appealing than they are, and they're not man enough to take it. And I don't say this to say take that or to make fun of them. These are the facts here. As someone who's the son of 2 doctors, this is the diagnosis. This is a key part of the diagnosis in regards to why they're acting like bitches and immature fools. The type of sex they have is like Bozo the Clown mixed with Freddy Krueger mixed with Hoggle from the Labyrinth, somebody who's full of guilt. They're not vindicated in the bedroom. Them and their ancestors are disgraced, not necessarily because of sexual performance, but absolutely because of sexual performance, because of the fact that they're in a spirit of betrayal, a spirit of rape by deception, a spirit of refusing to be in a culture that levels with the world in regards to what ideal really is. Even the word ideal was made into kind of negative wordplay by them, where you had the first letter I and the second part deal, because they want people to pretend that something else is ideal. Now, let me give you an example here. If you're in a business, say a bank, okay, the females there tend to want to keep their job. We see studies where like a third of females or whatever it is sleep with their bosses to keep their job for a raise because they're gold diggers, you name it. And like 20% of them specifically cite in order to keep their job or to get a raise. People are pretending in those corporations, in those groups, that their bosses are magically ideal. We see it with politics. We see it in so many places where people pretend like groupies, like cowards. And they whore themselves, they absolutely whore themselves to despicable and horrible people who are jealous of the top martial artist ever. And does their treachery stop at, tricking those women into bed? No. They ordered people to persecute me for basically my whole life since I was little. And it extremely increased. By 2011, it was clear cut that they were fanatically poisoning me, fuming me, and persecuting me. And the fumes really came in a little bit later, but they were probably fuming me at that point as well. But just not as noticeably. I say, 2013, 14 or something, whatever it was noticeable that they were fuming me. They edit my pictures because I have two pictures in particular that come to mind. One was a picture from 2012, which was the best martial art physique picture ever taken by far, especially when in terms of romantic appeal. And the other was the best and most handsome picture ever taken, where I'm in my martial art gi and I have a beanie on my head that says Kali. I don't worship the deity. It's referring to the state that I'm in, and it happened to match my martial art gi. Obviously, masculinity is preferred to gender neutral or feminine way about somebody. Obviously, that mulatto righteousness that I have, that goes far beyond what anyone might perceive in Bob Marley, for instance, or Obama, far beyond that, is very handsome righteousness, very divine, a godliness. And again, I don't say this to kind of try to pat myself on the back or something. These are the facts. This is what's happened here. And it's very important to understand this, to understand what's going on in the world in general. These people who, even if you don't know what's going on here, you'd have to be insane to respect, thought that it's in their best interest to do the unthinkably toxic and disgusting and evil, which is to persecute me, to their extreme disgrace, why God watches them and considers what to do with them and their offspring while they're headed to eternal punishment. And I'll be at God's right hand, and God will put me in that position to do that task, as that is what my being is for. On a deep spiritual level, God put me above everyone else, and it continues into the afterlife. And rebellion comes with punishment. A pattern in nature is that people can do something stupid, but eventually it catches up to them. Look at the word karma, for example. And again, I'm not a Buddhist or Hindu or what have you, but it's a play on words for a mark. Going back to, it's a mark, not the mark, a mark. A point of reference to understand the mark of the beast. What do you think justice is? What do you think is going to come back to people? Who, what, when, where, how, why, what have you? What boundary did you accept? Who did you follow and why? You follow someone less than me, or you follow me, the top martial artist ever possible? And why? If you didn't know I'm here, then what exactly were you doing and what weren't you doing? So we go back to the case of, we'll say a young George Bush, Brad Pitt, we'll say Austin Powers, what have you. And you see him next to the most handsome and righteous person that ever lived, the top martial artist ever. See, mere politician, mere actors. But how many females, out of being bred by those ancient Greeks and Romans and their token minority allies over hundreds and hundreds of years, would choose a choice that's despicable? And when they get together, there's a reason why the social clubs were all males. And then you get a lot of witches in the Eastern Star. Why are they witches specifically? Well, because it takes a very cruel and evil female to encourage women to be sluts for the kind of monsters who are in secret societies, social clubs, who deal in rape by deception, Very horrible people, very evil people. And they know that it needs to be said, and they know they should immediately correct themselves. They shouldn't be mad at me for pointing out what their friends should be pointing out, but their friends obviously don't care about them very much. They should scramble to change their ways. So their refusal to admit that it's rape by deception for hundreds of years forged who they are. It formed them. The word forged is a play on words for God. For God versus for the devil. They were forged for the devil. And their punishments, what you see in them, were punishments from a lack of prudence, a lack of diligence, a lack of scrambling to do what's right. You see, when somebody works on their soul with mind, body, soul, and spirit with martial arts, in the divine order, and other people branch off with various traders, and they do whatever they're doing, martial arts or otherwise, there's a gap emerging over generations. And they sought to cheat me out of the admiration of potential wives. The things I care less about, like economic advancement. Or fame in the minds of lemmings. They sought to cheat me out of true love. So if I was going to have sex with, a Puerto Rican, female, Filipina, Thailand, or whoever, or a hot white chick who gets it more than other people. Well, maybe not, more than other females, that is. Okay, and I was very angry and very frustrated. Fuck it, we'll even say sexually frustrated. Let's go there. So people get it through your thick pagan heads. And I was to have sex with that person in an angry manner, saying, you're supposed to submit to me. Which I don't feel the need to do right now. My brain has been messed up from years and years of fumes and poisons, but I'm still right about this. And so I doubt I'll ever feel that way again. And if I did, so what? And if I did and I chopped them up and threw them in a meat grinder, so what? Because they're scum. They didn't realize under no circumstances should you cheat the most righteous person that ever lived out of his right to date you. If you find yourself rejecting the most righteous person that ever lived, are you not a piece of shit? If you find yourself rejecting the most righteous person that ever lived, aren't you a useless slut that's been bred to be a monster, a fucking monster? I mean, who the fuck doesn't get that? Who the fuck? Can you imagine having a debate with some chicken-head feminist bitch, some racist Dixie whore, or any other kind of slut, useless slag, useless piece of shit that doesn't get that? No, man, not Mitch. I don't get it. It's stupid. Why don't they get it? Why the fuck don't they get it? It's because they're dumb sluts, because they're dumb chickens. They're bitches, right? That's why they're called bitches. Because they're too busy being a bitch to understand what matters most. What a fucking bitch. And when they cross certain lines of being a bitch, hey, now they're just bitches. That's the argument being made, right? Okay. So, when you think of, say, Brad Pitt having sex with someone, I don't like thinking these things, but we got to make this so you understand. This is part of the proof here. And women don't get this. Every female on the planet needs to hear this video, that's for sure. Okay, see, with Brad Pitt having sex with Julia Roberts, Jennifer Lopez, who's this redhead chick from X-Files, Gillian Anderson, whoever. Or think of Wesley Snipes, or think of, David Bowie, or Donald Trump, or whoever. You know that they don't deserve it as much as the top martial artist ever possible. So why the fuck don't females know? Hear guys saying things often around, say they're in a biker gang or in a gang or in some fraternity, say she should give him the pussy on the fucking strength. You see them say things like that. A lot of times females hear that. Maybe it's in a movie or something. On the strength. But they find themselves thinking that the top martial artist ever possible doesn't deserve their chicken head slut fucking cooter. What the fuck do you call that? Perhaps it would say, because you speak with such foul language. Wow! Super Chicken says I speak with foul fucking language. Okay? And that gives her an excuse to shun Jesus. If I use older words, maybe speak in Hebrew and say things like, you brood of vipers, you snakes, you dogs, it's okay? With your pigeon fucking brain? Your malfunctioning frontal lobe, not because of brain hacking per se, you're already a dumb bitch. As you look at it, some dumb chicken head slut on her way to suck some piece of shit that probably just raped a kid would say, well, you're a fucking asshole. If a chick slaps some guy across the fucking face because he raped her, would you say, hey, she's a bitch for doing that? When this chick who committed suicide threw this coffee on some football player who allegedly raped her soccer teammate, we'll assume that she's telling the truth, that she's right about it. Okay. Was she a bitch for that? But without splashing a chicken head fucking bitch with hot coffee, if I say, you fucking slut, you shunning Jesus, you bitch, magically I'm the fucking bad guy? You fucking scum?